Here we go. Welcome everyone to Witch Bitch, where we talk the real tea. And today we have Beverly on the show once again. Um, and we're talking about something quite exciting today. I wanted to pose the question of what's in store for 2023, or like what's the energy around this year that we can all feel, because I think as we're letting go and we're releasing everything that we want to release this year, things that we don't want to take and carry with us into the next year, I think it's a beautiful time to look into the future a little bit and see what is ahead of us. Because this year was crazy, so I would like to be a little next year. So yeah, I will open. That's what I'm opening this space up with. That question. If either one of you want to answer.
Okay. So, one of the things that I see is happen is that Pluto's moving out of Capricorn and into Aquarius, and so Pluto it brings all our stuff to the fore. So we've been sitting in that for 40 years, and I know from my own experience that 30 years I have been bringing my stuff to the fore and needing to deal with quite a lot. Um,
Mm.
so it's going to go into Aquarius, but it's only going to go into Aquarius for a short time, then it's coming back into Pluto. But it's not going to stay there very long. So it'll be though a mixture of the things that we haven't quite dealt with, so we come back into Capricorn just to deal with those, and then we'll go back into Aquarius, and we'll be sitting there for around 40 years. So it'll be an easier time for those of us that have chosen to to delve into what's going on within us, to deal
Yeah.
with our own emotional stuff, with our own emotional shadow, and bring forward what we've been holding in there.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
yes,
Wow.
I'm still going to tiptoe into 2023
Yeah.
I was just thinking the
because
same
who
thing.
knows? Uh,
Oh, 2022, the light, well, not just 2020,
the last,
like a portal has just burst open, and all this
yeah,
mucky stuff is coming out. So
yeah.
2023 seems like we're going to be doing a bit more of that stuff.
There will be a bit more of that because not everybody who's ready to take that leap has done the work. It's like,
Yeah.
it's slowly things have bubbled to the surface, and it's like,
Mm.
oh, what do I do with that?
Yeah.
And we'll go into a place of peace and calm, and then when we pop back into just what's been stirring in the pot to have a look at,
Yeah.
yeah.
My eyes are
I've
already
been following.
eyes are already blinking at looking at what more can I look at now?
Look, let me tell you, this is only my opinion, of course, but there's been so many people that have been doing it for, looking at their stuff for 30 or 40 years and really going to those depths, that we created the pathway for others to follow with much more ease. It's like things don't have to take as long. I remember
Right.
it was only a few weeks ago I ran a small workshop, and what they cleared within 2 hours was what would normally have taken us 2 full days.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's like things have definitely sped up, and it's nowhere near as traumatic as I remember it from back in the early 90s.
Yeah,
It
right.
does not feel as heavy as that. And there's a lot of people around that are very experienced who have done those hard yards that are there just to hold a space for others
Mhm.
to lift them up. You know, we
Mm.
one of the things that I was taught is you always teach from the space that you're at. So if you find a teacher that has been doing it for a long time and they've actually gone into their deepest woundings and have been able to clear that, they can hold a space for you to get through it much quicker.
Mm.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
good.
yeah. But I think there's time where we think we can do it all on our own, but it's not my experience.
Mm.
Mm.
I think for
My
these,
experience is,
yeah, go Bev.
you go.
I think what you're saying, for people, when you do that deep inner work, that you know that it's like going on an expedition, and you're going there on your own, and you haven't got any tools, and you didn't bring anybody with you. It's like you're more likely to get lost down in the depths of yourself.
Yep.
Whereas if you go with somebody who's experienced at exploring the depths of a person, or even just of themselves, then
Mm,
you've got experience with you. You've got somebody who kind of like goes, okay, not that cave today, we'll go this way.
yes.
You know, we're not exploring that part of you today. We'll go deeper, or we'll go down this road, or whatever.
Or even if you do go down that road, they have the skills to drag you back up.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, it's like, um, yeah, that's what it's like. They have the skill. It's like being a shaman will take you on that journey and be with
Yeah.
you, but they bring you back to being present and being here in this 3D world.
Yeah. So
Mm,
basically what you're saying is they're not doing the work, you're doing the work.
yep.
They're
Yes.
just guiding you, and they're holding space for you.
Yes. They're holding space for you to some people need to relive that experience
Mm.
just so that it's like that. I remember when I started, it was like a puzzle tracking all the different aspects of me to bring them
Hmm.
back into the whole. So it's like being a detective, your own detective. And when you
Yeah.
go to those deep places, you find more gifts in there than you would even imagine. Um, well, that's been my experience.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
it's like shadow. I don't want to know about you, but actually, what I've found in the shadow for me is some of the gifts that I was just totally not wanting to see because I judged
Mm.
them. I judged aspects of myself as bad, unacceptable. I don't know, all those words.
Yeah. One aspect of my shadow that's been coming up recently is assertiveness, and it being misconstrued for aggression and bossiness. And previously in the past, if that aspect came out, I would listen to the other people and think to myself, oh, Claudia, you're so bossy. You're being so, um, you're not being a team player, or you're trying to take over or whatever. So that self speak in my psyche was like, stop doing it. You've got to get back in your box and
Rein
not be.
yourself in.
Yes. Whereas now, when that happens, I realize I've got my own back, because I know that I'm not being bossy, and I'm not being aggressive. I'm actually being assertive.
Yeah.
And that my intentions behind all of that is a good intention. It's for the betterment of the group, or of the situation, or whatever. And that it's a skill that I can use to help me and help the situation, and that it's the other person that is reacting to the program of women are bossy, women are
Oh, yeah.
shouldn't be assertive, or whatever.
Oh,
I
I've
see
forgotten
that
that
now.
program.
Yes. Yes. So, like, it's real. I really, really am so grateful that I'm not taking it personally,
Yeah,
and that I'm seeing it for what it actually is, and that I'm still able to function as myself, because that's a natural attribute that I have. I've
yeah,
always had that.
yep,
I'm not afraid to be direct. I'm not afraid to say to somebody, this is what's happening. And some people really love it, and some people react really badly to it. And I suppressed that in myself for such a long time.
yeah. Yes, I can feel it's like yes.
Yeah.
And I think that as we move into 223, we are going to be able to say a clear no. Like
Yes.
we'll be able to put our boundaries up, and those people that can't cope with it will just move away. We'll
Yes.
find we're in a different space. Um, I think one of the things that I learned was about finding my authentic no. So it was a
Mm,
no that came from inside of me rather than my mental going no, because it took a while for me to learn to actually stand up and go, no, that's not okay with me.
mm,
So finding that authentic no that has a softness to it as well as being quite firm. So
yeah.
it's that gentle softness, and and I'm hoping that that's what we step into as we move out of this year is a lot more gentleness, but being direct as well.
And being firm in that no, being,
Yeah,
or the decision or the boundary or whatever you want to call it, being
yeah,
firm, even when, and that's what I'm finding that I'm so grateful for, because I'm finding that even though I'm being challenged on the boundary or on the assertiveness or whatever you want to call it, even when I'm being challenged on it,
mhm,
I'm still standing in the power of it, which I wasn't doing before. I was really thinking, oh, I'm being like, I've got to change that about myself.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, that
And
is
now I'm
so.
accepting it about myself. Yay.
Yeah,
Amazing.
we are. When think back to, when you're at school or especially high school and you've got to
Mm.
conform, like it's like, oops, you step out of line, you are banished to the naughty corner.
Yes. Yes. So
Yeah.
true. So
Yes,
true.
I think
those young years really set us up to how we meant to be in the world.
Mm.
mm,
Yeah, so coming out is like, Juliet, I'm glad that you are so young and you can come out. You don't have so much baggage to take with you.
yeah.
Well, you probably have from past
I
lives.
I I feel like me and mum our biggest difference is our assertiveness because not that I'm but I'm not assertive. I'm not really like I'm definitely not no, I don't do it very strongly. I do say no, but I'm learning how to say it in that um no, this is actually also not being really rigid about it, still being in my no, but not too much softness. It took me a long time to learn even how to say no. But mum's always kind of had that ability, and I haven't really
Mm,
always. Um, yeah, interesting. And I remember hearing somewhere Pisces, which is my sign, for Pisces, a big
yep,
lesson in um
yeah,
in yeah, be Pisces. A big lesson will be and it's been
Mm.
already a big focus. But I can feel that like that this will be a big lesson for me in 2023. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things I could suggest is go right down into your sacral and your solar plex and just breathe into there and practice saying no. Practice.
Mm.
Can it come out strongly? Does it come out? Is it gentle? Does it, just practice. If you practice it in front of the mirror, just hold your hands on your solar plexus and your sacral and connect in there and then try the no. Because it's like it's coming from a much more grounded place
Mm.
rather than trying to get it from your mental state, thinking this is what I want and this is how it's going to be. It's like really being in touch with your body. Oh, you have that.
I do. That's why I'm laughing, because it's a feeling. It's like this. It's like a barrier that comes up, like a big wall that comes up, and it's just like, no, we're not doing that, Claudia. We're not doing
Yeah.
that. And
Oh,
then that feeling that I get in my body comes out in my voice
yeah.
sometimes. And that's what people react to. And learning what you were saying, Bev, to soften that reaction, soften the voice, soften the no, but still stay strong in it. It's like
Yeah.
being able to reconcile that feeling in my body. And I think what happens with Juliet is, correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, but I think because I know you as your mum, this is what happens with you. When you have a feeling of no, it's like a, and you get scared. And it's like,
Mm,
oh, now I've got to say no, but I don't really want that confrontation in my life. And so it's more difficult for you because the feeling in your body is more of like a, oh no, like a fearful one. What do you think?
I
Or
think
there's just no feeling whatsoever?
more, um, yeah, my body says no, and I don't fully trust it, and then I'll someone by saying no, and it was a mistake.
Yeah,
And
right.
I changed my mind later on, and I don't want to go back and then there's also fear around, depending on the situation, there's a situation like that. Like, for example, if it's with work, tense up because I really wouldn't want to say no to someone at work on them all the time,
Yeah, right.
that sort of thing. So it depends on the situation. Yeah, both of those things do happen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I remember this piece of information I was given a long time ago was that if it's not when somebody asks you to do something, if it's not an immediate yes, it's always a no. So it's
Oh.
like, but you can then go back and change your mind. So say somebody's going to want you to help them move house, and your immediate reaction is not a yes. So you go, no, I can't this weekend or whatever. You don't even have to give a reason. But then you think about it and you go, actually, I could help them. You can go back and say yes. But if you say yes and then you go say no, it's a whole different ball game because they've had their expectations there. But when you can come back and say yes to them, the feeling's totally different.
Yeah, that is really great advice, Bev.
Mm.
Looking at it that way, starting out with the no and going to a yes, so much easier than starting with a yes and going to a no. So much easier.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
great.
mm. Just not that quick at doing the no. It does take time and it does take courage, um,
Mm,
because we've all had that feeling of being abandoned.
mm.
If we say no, they're going to reject us. And where are
Yes.
we going to be left then? Um, So it's like really getting comfortable with yourself and being able to do that. And,
Mm.
it does take time, it does take practice. Um, but I know, Juliet, you'll get there really quickly.
And I think
Mm.
too, when somebody is very um, like practiced or sure of the no, and they aren't afraid of saying no, or they're confident in their no, when they say yes, people then know that it's a real yes,
Yeah, yeah,
because the people that know you understand that, oh, Claudia doesn't do things she doesn't want to do because she's so confident when she says no. And so when I do say yes to people, they're like, oh, cool, she said yes this time.
hey,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, yeah, I think this is really important for the coming year. I really feel this
I do too.
conversation is covering something that we all need in our lives, especially for the coming energies that has been, that are cropping up and boiling up and all of that.
Well, I definitely know that everything is speeding up. I
Mm,
only need to think of something, hello, and I have the answer. It's like whether
mm,
it's meeting somebody down the street, or I have a friend in New Zealand, and honestly, because they're 5 hours difference, she might send me a message it'd be 4 o'clock in the morning here. I wake up. So that
oh,
it's like this, I do. It's just ridiculous.
Wow.
But it's like there's this instant connection, and it feels like there's an instant connection with those that I love. I'll be
mm,
thinking about something, or and they turn up, or they message me, or ring me, and it's really it's. I find it really interesting how quickly things are manifesting in this world.
yeah. So
Mm.
what you're saying, Bev, is that we need our no.
We need our no,
We
because
need
we
that no to be strong.
yes, and we need it because we don't want to manifest into our life those things that are maybe not for our best good. And
Yeah.
we've had that story that runs through our mind. I've been having an addiction with sugar, and in my mind, I'll go, I need to have that. Oh, actually, no, I don't. So I've got these two conversations going on, but I'm also the observer of that.
Mm,
And I've just figured that out. I went, actually, I'm going to have to be the observer in future. Never mind this person that's doing, yes, I will, no, I won't, yes, I will, no, I won't, and just be the observer and observe the the um, the battle that goes, and not buy into it.
mm.
It's easy for me to buy into what's going on in my mind, so it's like stepping back and really observing. And I
Yeah.
think that's what I'll be doing a lot of um, in the following years, is observing a lot more.
Yeah, I love that. Because
Mm.
it's funny because when you're having that conversation with yourself, because I have that conversation with myself over many things, not just
Yeah,
food, not just sugar.
I know I
um,
do too. It was just a bloody pain.
Yeah, so you forget that you're observing that argument. Like it's really easy to get in the argument, like down in the gritty, nitty gritty of it, and forget that you're actually observing yourself doing it.
Yeah.
So then shifting into that observer mode changes the dynamic of that
Mm.
whole situation,
Yeah.
and it creates space for you to be able to say, okay, I really need to say no here,
Mm. Yeah.
and build that strength up that you need when you're in that observer mode, to build that strength up to see the choices that you're faced with and say, okay, I really don't want this. I really, really don't. And I don't need this or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good way to explain it. Yeah, it's a well, I find for me that having to sit back and observe my, I'm going to go stupidity. I know it's probably not the right word, but I'm not very
That's a
PC.
pretty good one.
I do. I sometimes sit there and laugh at myself when I go into the observer. It's like, oh my goodness gracious.
I love that, Bev, that you're able to laugh at yourself. Sometimes I was thinking this yesterday that I can be a little bit serious and I forget to laugh at myself and forget to laugh at the situation because I get so in it. I get so, you know, consumed by what's happening that I forget to see the funny side of things.
Mm.
Oh, look, I had a friend turn up the other day that I haven't seen for 15 years. And one of the things she goes, you need more fun in your life, Bev.
Yeah.
And I went, yes, it's exactly right.
Yeah, we
And
can
one of the
never have
ways
too
to
much
get
fun.
it is to laugh at yourself. You
Yeah.
know, we as humans, honestly, sometimes I just like, I can't get my head around it really.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that joyful element, bringing that, because it, the what we started the conversation with, the last few years have been like a pimple popping, like all coming to the surface.
Yeah.
And if it's so easy to see the serious side of that, but to be able to see the funny side of it and be able to laugh and find the joy, um, it carries us further, I think.
Oh, and you know, one of the things about us laughing is the earth hears us. It
Mm.
fuels the earth. Our joy fuels the earth for her to rise as well.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
So that
sure.
is it. Yeah. It's
Yeah, I actually think that topic to talk about because this year's been, I think it's been really hard for everyone, and there hasn't been too much joy.
Mm.
Joy hasn't been as strong. There's been amazing moments, and I've loved this year, but it's been really difficult at the same. Something that I would not have asked me. Oh, what was your year like? Joy would not be a word that I would use. So I think, yeah, because the inner, because of all the inner work and like shadow that had come up, and I think no matter what year you're in, there's shadow. Like it doesn't matter if it's
Mm.
5 years from now, unless we're years in the future. Right now, at this time on Earth, there is a lot of shadow. So
yeah.
it's like find joy in. It's like sometimes it's hard for me joy in this space that I'm in where I live because it's either like playing experience joy, but it's different. It's not like laughing usually. Volleyball at this place, and then or I'm going and having deep vibrational conversations, and joy is also a part. At the same time, it's not like a huge one of the emotions that I feel. I feel like enlightened, and I feel not joyful, if you know what I mean. Like
Mm.
I'm having
Mm.
conversations, but then I'm not laughing and stuff. Um,
No.
so yeah,
Oh,
like
gee, I'll just turn my phone off. Excuse me.
Okay, go, Bev.
yeah, the one I find joy in myself watching funny videos on my
Mm.
Yep.
phone or on my laptop, like watching just stupid fun. The stupidity of humanity can be quite hilarious, and not necessarily a thing. Like it can be um, thing.
Mm.
Like I watch so many funny dog videos as well, and they're the best. So,
Well,
you know,
anything that lifts our vibration and
Mm,
brings us into joy is a great thing, even
yeah.
if it is
yeah.
watching funny dog videos.
Yes.
But yes, and when you start uncovering this stuff, it is like having those deep, meaningful conversations activate something in us.
Mm,
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I've had many deep
Mm.
conversations. Um,
mm,
but finding the joy in it as well, finding the joy that is innate in us. You know, you watch kids in the playground, they laugh at all
yeah.
sorts of things.
Yeah.
You know, finding that inner joy, that childlike joy, is such a great thing.
Yeah.
Um, I always laughed a lot, and living on my own, I don't seem to laugh quite as much. I like to have
Mm.
someone to laugh with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think this goes Juliet. I'll go
Oh,
after you.
okay. Yeah, I had this beautiful moment yesterday. My friend, and she's quite a new friend. We've slowly grown a lot of connection with each other, and we realize that we have, or not the same, but very, very similar beliefs and views about the world. And she actually awakened, and she's only a couple of me. It's like a really beautiful connection, and she really makes me laugh. Like she's her energy, herself, and the way she speaks and views all the time. And we went to the beach yesterday, and and it felt like we were taking turns and we were looking down. It was just the most amazing. Clear, it was like we were on a tropical island or something. Then we start doing handstands, and we slowly enter this very like inner child state with each other, and we're just cracking up, laughing. Fish that are with us, like it was, and we're both just laughing hysterically at each other. And I honestly, a child again, it was a really strong feeling, but also a child as an adult, which is
Mm,
better because it's like, oh my god, I haven't felt this in so long, and you have the mature observation of like what you're feeling.
mm,
Yeah.
I think finding, you never know, find joy. Like I wasn't expecting to go and find this much joy going to the beach. It was going to be a very simple like outing, but then where you're going to find these emotions and these connections with people. So yeah, to it, and um, I think it's pretty no, sorry, pretty difficult to find that strong joy when you're alone, um,
Yeah.
mm,
because you don't have hold space for your joy at the same time. Because personally, when I feel that amount of joy alone, it's like you're literally looking like a right now, laughing, and you know,
But who's looking?
it, yeah, no one's looking, and there's still that element within myself of like, dude, crazy. And but when you're with another person, they're feeling the same thing, and I'm not saying like, oh, you have to be with another person to enjoy. That's not at all the case. But sometimes it's a
You
bit
bounce off
easier.
it.
Yeah, you bounce
When
off
you're
it.
with somebody, you bounce off each other. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a video I saw of this guy on a train, and he was watching a video and he had headphones on.
Oh,
He
yes.
was watching something on his
Oh,
tablet, and yeah, he started laughing. he started
It
laughing on the
changed the
train.
mood, the
Yeah, and
whole
then
train.
everyone was like, at first they were doing what you're saying, Juliet. They were kind of going, "What's going on over there? That guy's nuts." But then, because he stayed in that energy of laughter, and
Mm.
he ramped it up. He didn't just stay in his little box. He ramped it up. Everybody joined in,
With the lo-
and they all started laughing, and it became
Yeah.
infectious. So I think we hit. I think it's a ceiling. Like we hit that glass ceiling, and we think, oh, well, I'm going to get judged, or once we hit that ceiling, the the self awareness comes in and the judgment comes in. But if we can crash through that,
Yeah.
then it becomes something else.
Mm,
It becomes
yeah.
bigger than us. And we trust in the process, we trust in the joy, we trust in whatever it is that we're breaking through. And then people kind of join us and go, yay, good for you.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
think I saw another one on the train where the guy's playing a song. They handed out the words to the song, and so everybody on going to work first thing in the morning are
Yeah.
singing. It's like it's such a joyous thing, isn't it, to be able
Yeah.
to bring that forward. And I don't know about you, but I never judge a person that does that. I'm like in awe of them, but I
Yes.
judge myself to do that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so weird.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when a person breaks through that with
Yes,
confidence, right?
yeah,
I, same as you, Bev, I look at them and go, how brave of that person. Like that's so awesome.
mm,
And I always feel like an internal clapping for them, like I'm a celebration. Yes, go for it. Yeah, because
yeah,
I've always had that, like from childhood I've had fear of public speaking or being on stage or even being on video. Like I have a terrible fear of it. And so when I see somebody else who breaks through that, because I know the fear that it has created in me, I
yeah,
can really appreciate the fact that that person is putting themselves out there,
Mm,
and not allowing their self-talk to stop them
yeah,
from creating joy in the world, or just on the train,
yeah.
brave enough to laugh out loud or
Wow,
brave enough to sing a song. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I celebrate those people.
and it just shows like literally how little we have to do to spread love. Like
Mm.
that's all you have to do. You could do even less than that, and like this thing can create such a huge wave. And really, I get caught up in because I want to be a change in this world, good change that I want to see. I get caught up in like, oh, how am I going to do this?
Mm.
Oh, I have to, have millions of on on my platforms, and that's the only way to spread word to millions of people, and you not have to be this embodied up there person, but it's like
Mm.
no, it's just complete, and excuse my complete bullshit. All you have to do is laugh
Mm.
on a train,
Yeah,
or like
and that
whatever it is. Mm.
that's our ego. That's
Yeah.
wanting to be perfect to make change. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can change a person's life just by giving them a smile. Like
Yeah.
I always make it, it's a rule when I go into supermarket. I never go to the self serve because I'm like, no, that takes someone's job away and all the rest of the story I have. But I actually ask the person that's serving me, "How's your day?"
Mm.
And make a little conversation, and they just get so sick of standing there doing the same thing. You can see their spirits lift because somebody's interested in them.
Yeah.
I think that's
true.
actually yeah. I think that's a big thing. Is people don't feel that anybody's interested in them.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's
And
so true.
yeah, so,
I was a checkout person
yep, me too.
was younger, and
Yep,
so yeah, those really create such a big difference because
yeah,
no one's interested. The reason they think no one's interested is they're working for a company that isn't interested. They're working
Mm.
for a huge chain most of the time that isn't interested at, and um, also they're literally in the same movement and hearing the
mm,
space
oh,
for
Mm.
hours,
oh,
hours. It is. I believe I was doing it for a year. I put up with it. I don't know why or how. I had some major lessons to learn in that, but um, ways to entertain yourself when you just hear beep beep like for five. Oh, I felt like
hadn't
when I
actually
look back
thought
at
of
those
that.
times, back at those times in my life, I think of like, and like I feel like that's where it's at for me. Like instead of looking at a past life where who knows, like I'm imprisoned in jail, I'm in this lifetime and working for them and my time there. Like I'm in a mental asylum, just hearing that noise all the time.
And and you don't even need to use your mind. So when I worked in the supermarket, we at least had to look at the price of it and put the price in the till. It was
Mm.
like we didn't just do beep beep beep. I used I got to pride myself that I knew the price of everything and I didn't actually have to look. But there was a little bit of mental stimulation going. Whereas
Mm.
if you're just doing the beep beep, there's no mental stimulation, no, there's no joy in that, is there?
Yeah.
No.
Mm. Yeah, I hadn't actually thought of the beep beep. Thought that would drive me nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like
Yes.
it feels like the way things are set up for efficiency, the way big companies are set up
Okay.
for efficiency. It's all about making the most amount of money in the shortest space of time because
Yeah.
time and money are opposite to each other, aren't they? It's like, when people say time is money, if
Yeah,
you can
I'm
make more money
for.
in a shorter space of time, like that's actually, it's almost like magic. Do you know what I mean? It's like the formula. And those systems that are set up to create that cut out everything else. That's the only objective, and there is
Yes.
nothing else that is important. So a person's mental health, the way the customer experience is with that noise, standing there even just for 5 minutes, it's like you
Yeah.
go into a trance. You leave your
Oh, you leave your body.
consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah, and these systems are everywhere for us. They're
Uh,
all over the place, and
and it's making it more so we don't use our own initiative in anything.
yeah,
You know,
yes, yes,
since I've been back in WA, I've connected in with my family who run farms, and it's like this big business now. It's not like we drag the kids off, we're going to chase the sheep anymore. It's
yeah,
like there's so many health and safety things to consider. There's
yeah,
so much paperwork to do. It's like everything's come down to this system
yeah,
where you can't think for yourself anymore.
yes,
And we're not encouraged to think for ourselves anymore.
yeah, and it's designed
Mm,
specifically. One of the I don't know if it's the intention or if it's a byproduct, but it correlates back into what we've been talking about. One of the casualties of these systems is joy. You can't
yes,
feel
yeah,
joy when you're in that space
no,
because there's no time, there's no space for that
no,
in like Juliet, you talking about Coles, you know when you're standing there doing that action and hearing the beep, 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 there's until somebody like you, Bev, comes along and breaks the cycle of that and says, how's your day been? And have a little chat, that
Yeah.
human aspect of the person behind the till is put on hold. It's like
Yeah.
you're not, you've got no space to be joyful. And then you have that human interaction with someone, and that you kind of like go, oh, yeah, I'm a person. They're speaking to me, and I can speak back and I
Can't
can
bring
Yes.
it.
feel now.
You can't bring in a child into that environment, really, can you?
Exactly the
They
point.
would just not
Exactly
be
the
very
point.
happy.
Exactly the point. And that,
Mm,
Also, to what you were saying, Mum, because
yeah.
even every single job, even jobs like now where I'm working behind the bar, and I actually and find joy in these jobs. Doesn't it doesn't matter people who treat you as a robot. Like
Mm,
I just realized, because there's this trend on TikTok is speaking about instances in their job, like crazy things that have happened and like really annoying things. Light on how people treat a lot of service like hospitality workers and
mm-hmm,
what I learned from this trend is like, yeah, people, and I do it too. It's not like just everyone else and not me, but we treat each other like robots around. Like when someone's, it's like,
mm,
hi, can I please have this? You're not saying, hi, how's your day? There's no like humanness to it. It's like, hi, can I have this? And they're like, yeah, you can have this. It's gonna be $20, please. Okay, and then you pay them, and then that's the interaction. There's no it. And it's the same behind the bar. Like times you'll have customers that literally just walk up and be like, "Can I just get a whatever?" And they don't say. Sometimes like someone asked for a Carlton, and he just literally walked up and went Carlton draft, and I was like, "Nice to see you too." Like it's just robotic. It's very very robotic, and yeah, I think something I've taken away from this conversation with you two, as well as this trend that I've seen online, is to have more of that in
mm.
human interaction with workers. I think, it's like an off topic from what's in store for 2023, but I think it relates so strongly. Like, we've got to help each other
yeah.
out as humans. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not really designed to be working anyways. It's not in our genetic nature, I don't think. At least I don't think that. So it's the way the world works at the moment, and we got to help each other through it. Like having more of that, yeah, that joy,
Kindness.
smiling, and that, yeah, and that love for people, even if we don't know them, even if they're just there doing their job and they don't, they haven't asked to see you. Just you can still give them a smile and treat them like a human, not a robot.
Yeah.
And I think that would help
Remind
in so
you go for it,
still go.
Juliet.
Oh, just something came to me, and then I'll let you talk, Mum.
Yeah,
Um,
go for it.
and I think doing this will actually stop the manifestation of like AI,
Oh,
because
100%.
when we treat each other like robots, that shows whoever you want to call them, that shows creating these robots. It shows them that we want it because we're treating
Yeah.
each other like robots. So if we're
Yeah,
treating
so
others,
true.
of course, that's going to manifest actual robots. Why there's self-serve checkouts now. That's why there's so many ways to avoid. Like I flew with Qantas the other day, and there is like no people when you check in. Like you don't check in with a person, you check in with a robot. You check them in with the person. The only time you
Oh,
interact with a person is like at security, and they're telling you how to stand in the robot that scans you. Like that's actually how little human interaction there is. And I mean, to be fair, it's nice not having the whole of like waiting in line for 30 minutes to wait for your flight, but it is very sad. It is also
Mm.
very sad at the same time. Um, so I think
Yep.
when we start treating each other like, it will bring more
Mm.
humanness to life, and it will slow down this creation of AI, starting to run the world and our systems.
Mm.
I'm going to put the microphone down to either one of you. I'm sorry, I was talking for a while there.
No, I love that, Juliet, because
Yes.
you're passionate. Yeah.
Mm. I
I
was going to
was,
say,
my comment was, in my day, it was called common human decency. That's what it was called. It
yeah,
even had a name. It
yeah,
was, you treat each other with common human decency. If you're a human being, you get respect.
yeah,
Until the day that you do something that says, well, I don't want your respect. Until that happens, you treated everybody with respect. Whereas I
yeah,
think what's happening now is we're all so stressed out because of this system of efficiency. We want to do things more efficiently because, we only have so much time to make the money. And
Yep.
money has become so, yes, money has become so important to survival, to being able to pay your bills, to being able to buy food, to be, and oh, because like I used to write a blog years ago about turning, because we bought this house in Sydney and we renovated it, and we've got a little backyard, and I started to grow food and stuff in the backyard, and it's only a very small space. We went from a unit with a balcony to this house with a small backyard. But to me, it was paradise because I was like, oh, I've got the ground now where I can actually grow food. And I had this blog that was talking about creating a little farm in the city, creating your
mhm,
own little patch of paradise in the city. And it's possible because no one was growing food. Everybody had lawn and trees and ornamentals, but no
yeah,
one was growing food. It was like a cultural thing that was reserved for the Greeks and the Italians, that they would have their market gardens in their backyard.
yeah,
But, and I was talking to people about how to grow just simple things like tomatoes and things in the backyard. And they're like, oh, I don't have time for any of that. I don't have time to grow
oh,
a garden. I don't have time to tend to tomatoes in the yard. And so that this mentality of, well, I'm going to go to the supermarket to buy mine because I don't have the time to do it. But if
mm,
they were to establish a garden and put the systems in place in their house to be able to grow the food, like a compost pile, which could only be a little bucket, and um, a little area in the yard. All you need is 1 meter by 1 meter to grow food.
yeah,
And then every, week that they create this compost, they could put it in a worm farm, and then they could extract the worm extract out of them and put it on the garden and then grow.
yeah,
And they don't, once a week they have to be out in the yard, once a week in the
yeah,
sunshine tending to it. And then they have tomatoes, and then they might go, wow, that was really easy, I'll grow something else. And that connection that they have to their world, to their backyard, to the earth, to
yeah.
being out in the sunshine, to seeing something grow from a seed to an actual piece of food, and then bringing it inside and cutting it up and putting it in on their toast or putting it in their
So
pasta.
joyful.
Yeah, that whole process of doing that gives so much energy back to the person that is doing it. The
Mm,
gifts that they're receiving from that whole process far outweighs them thinking to themselves, well, I've got to buy my groceries this week. I've got to spend $500 on groceries. So I'm going to stay in a couple of extra hours at work to cover my bills.
Mm.
mm,
and they could be saving so much money doing it that way, but it's the mentality that needs to change.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just the thought process of, I don't have time to do that. There's too much involved when
Yeah.
there is hardly anything involved whatsoever.
I
Yeah.
think everybody should go and do a permaculture course.
Yeah, I agree,
Mm,
Bev. High five.
Yep.
yeah.
There's so much magic in
Oh,
growing food. There's
Yeah.
so
so
much magic in it.
one of the
And once
first
you've got your
courses I did
little,
was permaculture, and it
yeah,
just it opened my eyes to nature, and
yes,
to use the resources that were right there at my fingertips. And just a beautiful thing to do for yourself.
yeah, I so agree with that. It really is.
Yeah,
And it's not people, I really think that society, the way we've listened to advertising, the way we covet convenience,
mm,
that we've lost that we think that growing food is so difficult. It's a misconception. It really isn't difficult at all. All you need for tomatoes, ground, which you can do with compost, and that's all your food scraps in the house. You stick
yeah,
them in the worm farm and you get out the stuff from the worm farm. So you need a bit of
brilliant.
that. You need 8 hours of sun, so you need to put it in a really sunny spot
Yeah,
and water. That's it.
that's it. Doesn't
That's
take
it.
a
That's
lot,
all you
does
need.
it? Tomatoes are probably one of the easiest things to grow.
Yes,
Mm,
yes.
yeah,
And
and the
what with
flavour.
our
Oh
garden at the
my
moment, Spence,
god.
my husband just chucked in a whole compost, and there was some tomatoes in the compost, and all these
Yep,
tomatoes started growing. We
yep.
didn't even plant seeds, and we've got all these tomatoes in the yard now.
So cool, eh?
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Hey,
think
and Juliet, I was going to
yeah.
say that I was a barmaid too, and what it taught me was to actually listen to people.
Mm.
So I've looked back at my life and all the ways that I've trained, because I worked in a small town in the pub, and the, especially the men, would need someone to offload to. And it sort of
Mhm.
taught me how to be a counsellor and how to listen.
Right.
Yeah. So there was all these things that we never know. Even working in Coles teaches you something that you don't want to be a
Yes.
robot.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Bev, I love that. That is so true, that you're doing something in your life that teaches you something that you never thought you'd be able to draw on.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
Like you were
I've
a
looked at
barmaid, which taught you how to listen to people. Like that is
yeah.
so cool.
Yeah. Oh, I've always been that one. The sign that says "Tell me your story,"
Yeah,
um, but
it's just so easy to talk to.
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, no, and but I really noticed that they just go to one side of the bar. It was the storytelling part of the bar, I think,
Yeah,
and they'd sit
awesome.
there until you engaged them with some conversation, and as
Mm.
you engage them, then they'd start to open up. So even the guy that goes Carlton Graft, you go, "How's your day today?" It's like
Yeah.
you make the effort to draw them out. Because
Mm.
he's probably having a real crap day.
Yeah.
Yes, so
Mm,
Yeah.
true.
mm,
When a
Wow.
person is surrounded by that energy of like that, ooh,
mm.
that energy, yeah, that one.
That's the one.
Yeah, my first reaction is, oh, leave that person alone. They don't want to, because they're closed. But I think like the guy on the train that was laughing with the tablet, you got to break through that
Mm,
ceiling to get inside.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And sometimes it might just be, how's your day going?
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's like, because I think when we come up against that wall of a person, we retract instead
Yes.
of expanding. And if we expand into that, um, they don't have anywhere else to go but to respond or
Yeah,
to
so
Yeah.
true.
get off, you know, who knows. But as you expand your own energy field and your own heart energy, it brings people in and they can open up more. And sometimes, you
Mm,
know,
Mm.
Juliet, you were saying about wanting to change the world. Sometimes you never know. It can be just one word that
Yeah.
changes a whole person's life, and you don't know where they're going to end up.
Yeah.
mm,
Um,
Very
so
true.
true.
mm, I
I
remember
think.
this one. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you go. You go.
Yeah, I was just going to say this one lady I worked with a long time ago, and I went, oh God, she needs a whole lot more work done, blah, 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 in my mind. Never saw her again. I think it must have been about 5 or 6 years later, I get a phone call from her. She said, "Do you know that reading you gave me, Bev?" She said, "It changed my whole life."
Wow.
I'm like, seriously? I'm scratching my head because I didn't think I'd done anything.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
But for
Wow.
her, yeah. So
Yeah, you never know. You
you
never
don't
know.
know. You don't know the ripple effect that you have on another person and what their ripple effect is. So all we
Wow.
can do is just keep our hearts open, be in our inner child and our joy as much as possible.
Mm.
And 2023 should be fabulous.
Yes.
Wow. I think with that, I know I'm complete. Is Are you
Mm.
both complete?
Yes,
Yes, I love
yeah,
that, Bev. Thank
yeah.
you.
Mm.
Mm,
How
oh,
wonderful did this conversation turn out? I love it.
Yeah. Wow.
yes, it's me too. Especially when I have no clue where we're going. But
Yeah.
I
You
love
We
just
got
you
talking
there
to
just
in
you
the
ride
end.
ladies.
you just ride it. You just ride
Yeah.
the wave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Wow.
and open our heart as much as possible.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes.
Love you,
Well,
ladies.
Mwah.
love
Mm.
you guys.
We love
Thank
you
you,
too, Bev.
everyone. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone, for watching, and we'll see you next week for 2 episodes. Because next
Oh,
week,
really, Juliet?
yeah, next week, I think we're gonna start back the ancient mystery series. So
Can
get
you
ready
give
for
us a
that.
hint on what we're going to be what we're going to be
No,
talking?
because there's so many that I haven't chosen one yet.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Yes.
all right.
All right.
Mwah. See you
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
See you